All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. Your buddy CJ here. And tonight, we're talking about all things automotive industry, car guy stuff, real gearhead talk right here on Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. Welcome back to all of my subscribers. I love each and every one of you. You're so important to me. Welcome to any guests, first timers to the channel. Give me a like and subscribe. All gearheads are welcome here. If you love cars, if you love talking about car culture, things going on in the automotive scene, exotic cars, supercars, classic cars, EVs, all kinds of things going on in the industry right now that's relevant to the real automotive enthusiast. Real Gearhead Talk is right here. So guys, welcome everybody. Let's get right into this. Let's get right into it. Guys, is the tide turning? The topic for tonight with your buddy CJ, I'm asking you, is the tide turning for internal combustion engine versus EV? There is at least a major market adjustment going on. There is a major EV pullback right now. And anybody who tells you different isn't watching the industry close enough. And your buddy CJ is going to break it down for you, real talk tonight, and give you several examples of what's evidencing this EV pullback and why, in my view. I want to share that with you. I want to hear from you, though. Be sure to leave me those comments. I'll respond to all the comments I can. Let me go ahead and share something with you here on screen, because you know, here on Hot Seat Automotive Podcast, this is what we do. We look at things together. So there you go. You're in your Tesla EV with the surfboard on the roof, heading to the beach out there in California, maybe, or someplace. I don't know. But what's going on here, guys? Major indicators of a full pullback by major automotive manufacturers right now, early in 2024, related to EV production and related to EV projections in terms of sales and growth. Let me start with some examples. Mercedes-Benz. Let's go back in time. 3 years ago, guys, wasn't that long ago. About 3 years ago, Mercedes-Benz predicted that by 2030, they would be 100% EV. Mercedes prediction, not mine, not yours, right? Mercedes-Benz, decades old, leading manufacturer of automobiles in the world, huge market presence. And about 3 years ago, they were predicting 100% EV by 2030. Guess what? Well, they've walked that back. They're now predicting 50% by 2030. So you do the math. They were off 3 years ago by 50%, way off, not even close, with EV projections, and they've cut it in half. Not good. Anyone who's been watching Mercedes-Benz with their heavy push the past couple of years with their EV lines, yeah, they're not selling. You guys leave me comments. Are you seeing a lot of those high-end Mercedes-Benz EVs out there? What are they, the EQs or whatever the hell they are? Let me know if you got one. Leave me comments. I think the high-end one, whatever it is, the equivalent of the S-Class, but EV, it looks cool and interesting and kind of high-tech and futuristic. I'm not running out to buy one. And I don't think you people are either. And I think that's a big part of the reason why Mercedes-Benz is walking it back. Let's keep going. Another example, Ford. Ford was pushing heavy about 3 years ago as well, pushing heavy projections, ramping up EV production. You guys watch the news wires? The Ford Lightning, the electric F-150, major pullback, major reduction in manufacturing output and commitment from Ford, okay? And some price cutting, right? In addition, fairly recently, Ford has been slashing the prices of the Mach-E, okay? Slashing the Mach-E. I'm not seeing a lot of those on the road either. Let me know if you have one or what you think. But again, now we've got two of the major players, right? Mercedes-Benz. Yeah, we're going to be 100% EV by 2030. Nope. Let's reforecast. We'll call it 50% EV. 50% by 2030. off from their projection of 100%. Was it ever really a goal, or was it a narrative? Let's put a pin in that for a moment. Let's keep going. General Motors, another example, pushing back the launch of their new EV truck. Again, so another representative of Detroit pulling back. Let's take a look at something else here, guys, as we're going through this. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. Leave me comments. Let me know what you think. We'll take a look at this. Who remembers this guy? The Fisker Karma. I think this was called the Karma when these come out in like 2012. Disaster, right? Major problems with these, but that's really not the purpose of tonight's episode. We're talking more broadly about this EV pullback and whether or not we're seeing a major shift that's going to turn some tides. Tesla's earning call, what was it, month and a half, 2 months ago? Flat sales projections. This will not be a big growth year for Tesla. They're pumping the brakes a bit. Okay, they're saying with all the price slashing that Tesla has had to do in the wake of this reduced demand for EVs, Tesla's saying our profits are going to be lower, our sales projections are less aggressive. Okay, so there's some headwinds for Tesla, and Tesla is the elephant in the room. Tesla is the major player in EV, been the innovator for every bit of 12 years or so. Okay, they've been leading the charge, and they're walking it back. All right, so that's Tesla. A little bit about Tesla. Lastly, how about Hertz? Without going into a heck of a lot of detail, Hertz, big major rental car company, they had a major sell-off of their EV fleet. And I know as a business traveler, your buddy CJ does a lot of business travel. Over the past couple of years, since COVID, and when I started really traveling again, I'd go to different cities, different states, particularly across the US, and I'd see, I'm a Hertz guy, and I'd see these Teslas lined up. And, who's renting them? Like, they're almost pushing them on you, right? They'd always be out there as an option. When I'd make my reservations, booking travel reservations, they were always pushing the Teslas on me. But I got to be honest with you, as a business traveler, I don't want to be bothered. To me, it's kind of like a novelty. Like, okay, it would be cool to maybe cruise around town with a Tesla, but when I'm traveling on business, not interested in experimenting. I just need reliable transportation. I'm not there for that. So it doesn't surprise me. But again, best laid plans, right? There was a time when Hertz was all in on EV. Massive near-term adoption. Yeah, not so much. They've walked it back as well. The other thing I'll mention is, how about Toyota? And Mr. Toyota, the chairman of Toyota, the number one automotive manufacturer in the world, and I've talked about this previously on Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. Mr. Toyota, I think, knows a thing or two about this industry. I think Toyota has been a wildly successful organization as of late. Okay, they've had challenges, as all automotive manufacturers have, but I have a lot of respect for Toyota and for Mr. Toyota specifically. And what Mr. Toyota says, and he's not shy about it, I love it. The man stands on business, as your buddy CJ says. He's not afraid to tell it like it is, which I respect. Mr. Toyota says, listen, I do not see global adoption getting beyond 30% ever of EV. Mr. Toyota says EV is not the only solution. We can't go sole EV. He says, what about hybrid? What about alternative fuels? Carbon is the enemy, he says. Carbon emissions, so we can do flexible, pragmatic things with other fuels, hybrid drive systems, this type of thing, and some EVs for those that want them. But mandating and forcing EV, Mr. Toyota has been saying for a while now, not the right play. I think Mr. Toyota's right. So, guys, I want to share now a few points on what your buddy CJ thinks are reasons why. The primary reasons why we're having this pullback. I gave you some examples, some tangible examples demonstrating that legit we are seeing a pullback on EVs. Okay. It's not just, well, things are taking a while, but no, we're seeing major automotive manufacturers back way off where they were 24, 36, 48 months ago. Something's happening. Gearheads rejoice, maybe? Your buddy CJ's not an EV hater. I'm not anti-EV. I think they're cool. I've driven several. I haven't bought one. Okay, I've driven hybrids. I wouldn't rule it out, but there's really no incentive for me to go buy an EV. Let me know what you think in your comments. I also don't want it mandated unnecessarily because I tend to agree with Mr. Toyota, chairman of Toyota Motor Company, who says all EV is not the answer right now for various reasons. But let's get into the why, guys. I want to give you some very specific examples, and then I want to hear what you guys think. So while we're talking about this, let's take a look at this Rivian. What do you guys think about the Rivian, by the way? Kind of an eclectic, unusual, kind of out there design, isn't it? That nose on these Rivians doesn't look like anything else. What do you guys think about it? I'm not a huge fan of the aesthetics of the Rivian. I don't know a heck of a lot about them. I've never considered buying one. I've never even gone to check them out, so to speak. I've seen quite a few on the road. I've seen them at automotive events. Anybody out there have one? Leave me comments. Hit me up. Let me know what your Rivian experience has been like. But anyway, so a couple things. One, these are your buddy CJ's points of view, by the way. But I think the number one contributing factor to this EV pullback is that, the early adopters, 2012 through, let's say, 2020, that's done. The big push for these early adopters, the guys that have to have the new gadget, the IT guys, if you will, that really want they want to drive software and a battery. Like, no joke, those are a lot of the innovators. Or, the rich guy who wants the toy that's also, hey, I'm saving the environment, right? I'm hugging trees and I'm saving the environment. Come on, guys, having a little bit of fun tonight. It's all in good fun. But in all seriousness, I think that was a big part of the first wave, the early adopters. And they bought these things in droves, particularly Teslas. I remember seeing Teslas 2012, 2013, 14, 15, 16. Okay, and then other manufacturers started to get a piece of the action. But there's only so many early adopters. There's only so many people who are, willing to go there, be on the bleeding edge of something that's new, disruptive, and innovative. Okay? It's not for everybody. EV is not for everybody right now. And I think that's a big reality check for automotive manufacturers. A lot of us kind of saw this coming. Real talk, I've been saying this. People who know me know that I've been saying this, that there's going to be a pullback and a rollback. It starts with the public. It starts with the consumer. It has a ripple effect on the automotive manufacturers, and that aggregate pressure between the consumers and the automotive manufacturers, I claim, will have significant impact on regulation. The next domino to fall, so to speak, will be that some of this regulation is going to be rolled back. Write it down, take it to the bank. Your buddy CJ said it. Consumers have pulled back. It's the end of the early adopters. Commercially, the automotive manufacturers are suffering. They've overinvested. Make no mistake. The buyers aren't there. The profitability isn't there. The industry is suffering. So lobbyists, okay? If you don't think that lobbyists are going to exert pressure on regulators, you got another thing coming. There will be a ripple effect. There will be a downstream effect. And I claim the next chip to fall, the next domino to fall will be these regulatory mandates, wing to wing, not just in the United States, not just in California, Connecticut, other places, will start to pull back. Get ready for it because it's coming. Okay. Something else, another contributing factor here, the incentives. Early days, do you remember these incentives came out and it was great? Hey, there's a tax incentive to buy an EV or a hybrid. Well, guess what? These are really difficult to navigate. These tax incentives are hard to get and they're difficult to navigate. There are exceptions and requirements. The vehicle needs to be assembled in the United States. The mix of components that go into the cells can't be from China, can't be from here. I'm not going to go into all the details and specifics. I've got another episode on this. But the point being, it's not like there's a tax incentive for everybody on every EV and every hybrid. No, there's all kinds of restrictions on these damn tax incentives. So where in principle you say, hey, I can get a nice tax incentive. Maybe at best. Okay? By the way, EV trucks, right? Real talk tonight. Real gearhead talk. Listen, most truck guys do not want an EV truck. Leave me comments if you feel differently. Most truck guys I know want a big V8. Maybe a twin turbo V6. Maybe a straight six. Maybe a diesel. They don't want an EV. So you're producing products that your average buyer does not want. When's the last time you talked to a diehard Toyota Tacoma fan, okay, or a Silverado guy, or a Cummins turbo diesel guy who said, boy, I'd really like to get into this EV game? Never happened. Never happened, right? Yes, there are people who are buying these Rivians, the people getting Cybertruck. As you know, your buddy CJ, I've got a deposit on a Cybertruck. Now, I'm no hypocrite. I'm not a big truck guy these days, but the opportunity came up. I would buy a Cybertruck. I'm eager to get one, but I'm also not going to go work with it, all right? I plan on kind of making it a fun vehicle. I digress. It's not about me. It's about what's going on in the market right now at large. So major headwinds. Let's look at a couple of other reasons why. EVs are expensive. Okay, the average EV price in the United States is currently hovering at about $53,000. That's a lot of money. Did you know the average EV price in China is about $35,000? So, I don't want to make this political, and I certainly don't want to get into global macroeconomics or anything like that. How boring, right, people? We're here to talk about cars and trucks. But clearly, I think, a lot of these manufacturers, by placing their bets on luxury EVs or high-end EVs, in terms of mass market adoption, mass market is not the luxury market, okay? If you want mass market adoption, you have to make a product that the everyman can afford, that the average consumer can afford. And the average consumer probably can't afford a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 vehicle or more that's also kind of disruptive and innovative and has got some risk associated with it. And, people are nervous, range anxiety. There's the fear of their garages catching on fire with EVs. Again, I'm not here to bash EVs, but this is real. These are headwinds. Your average consumer does not have a specific set of incentives that are so easy to achieve to go out and buy an EV in the United States right now and in other markets. The other thing too, again, and it's self-evident, we've been talking about it for years, haven't we? This range anxiety thing. Okay? These EVs are rated at, let's say it's rated at 300 miles. That's tested in a lab on a dyno. Okay? In the real world, depending on driving conditions, you may get 225 miles range, not 300. You may get 250 miles. Okay, where am I going to charge it? Are the chargers going to be working? What about extreme winter conditions? These are real concerns. Yes, the cells have come a long way. The technology is cool, man. Your buddy CJ loves technology. Okay? And I applaud these innovators, whether it's Tesla, Rivian, engineers at Ford, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, you name it, doing really cool things with EVs. I test drove the Lotus EV, SUV. I thought it was was cool. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed driving it. But having said that, you can't ignore the headwinds and the challenges. Okay. So, guys, those are just a few reasons why your buddy CJ thinks we've seen this significant EV. I think what we have here, guys, is an over rotation. I think we've got government regulators and manufacturers getting way ahead of their skis. Okay. I think there was a narrative here. There was an energy and excitement that EV truly was not only the future, but the near future. And I think timelines, projections were a bit too aggressive, and they far exceed consumer demand and mass market appeal and practicality. Challenges with charging. What about big cities? Sufficiency and adequacy of the grid to support the charging, enough charging stations, range anxiety, lack of incentives and restrictions and limitations on tax incentives, high price points for EVs. Okay? All of these things contributing significantly to headwinds. And I can't even say they were unforeseen. Shame on you, big business, automotive industry leaders. Shame on you for not seeing some of this coming. I saw some of it, not all of it. I saw some of this coming. Mr. Toyota sees it. And I think Mr. Toyota, we talked about his predictions and his point of view. I think he's spot on. Why are these manufacturers just falling in line to their own detriment? Okay. It doesn't make business sense to go all in on EV. What about hybrid? What about alternative vehicles? What about just pushing for better efficiency and emission controls and all of these things? With all this innovation and technology and capability that we have, why not focus there? Okay. While providing incentives for those who do want to adopt an EV or a hybrid, but then also offering other options and innovations that are good for the environment, better for the environment, right? But also that are more in alignment with reality. Okay. With what the consumer wants today and in the coming months, years, so on and so forth. So get ready. Get ready for the next domino to fall, people. I'm telling you. And for those that are pro internal combustion engine, it might be time to rejoice because we're gaining ground back in the other direction. I just gave you several tangible examples. It's real. Okay? Consumer demand is not there. The automotive industry, certain organizations, large manufacturers are suffering because of their overinvestment in EV. Make no mistake, the next domino to fall, regulation has to roll back. It's coming. Your buddy CJ said it. Write it down. Take it to the bank. Now, let me know what you think. Please leave me comments, guys. You know I love you a lot. Love all my subscribers. Give me a like and subscribe. Come on. So happy to have you as a part of the channel. And we're just going to keep going. We're just getting started, guys. I just can't wait to speak to you on the next one. Have a good evening. Peace.